Live from the Student Union on campus, this is Gold Mine Live. Your weekly all-access pass inside Charlotte Athletics is brought to you by Ortho Carolina, proud to present the 2017 Charlotte 49ers football season. Bojangles, it's bow time. Your Carolina Ford dealers. Go to yourfordchoice.com and enter the Adventure Ready giveaway to win a 2017 Escape or Fusion from your Carolina Ford dealers. Harris Teeter, where 49ers fans shop for groceries. University Eye Associates. And by Wells Fargo. Charlotte 49er fans, show your pride with a customized Wells Fargo debit card. Stop by your nearest Wells Fargo or visit Wells Fargo Card Design Studio online to learn more. Now, here's your host, the voice of the 49ers, Matt Swerad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gold Mine Live as we take a week away from football, despite having the big football win this last Saturday against UAB in homecoming, winning 25-24 in overtime against the Blazers. We'll talk football next with Coach Lambert. They're out recruiting this week. So with basketball starting on November the 10th for both the men and the women, it's a perfect week to talk little men's hoops. We got men's coach Mark Price with us. Also women's coach Cara Consuegra will join us for the second half hour. We bring back the Niners' great three-point shooter Jobey Thomas back again for all the season this year as my partner on the radio broadcast. And, Coach, great to see you today. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well. I feel, after the big football win, I feel like the football coaches should be up here. But I'll carry the mantle today and already hustle over to practice. It's getting started right now.
I think that may have been the same situation last year. We had a big win against Florida Atlantic on the road, and it was their week off, so we talked a little basketball again, so it's two in a row. And you guys are getting ready for the season. As you mentioned, you got an exhibition game coming up, but you also open the season for good on the 10th of November, so it's right around the corner. How's the preseason been for you so far?
Well, it's been good. The guys are working really hard. We're excited for this season. It's really the first time since I've been here that I feel like we have some veteran leadership on this team, guys that have been here the past couple years, guys like John Davis, Andrew White, Austin Ajukwa, Hudson Price. We got a core veteran group now go along with a lot of the infusion of the young talented players that we brought on board this year. So they're working really hard. We're trying to pull it all together. We got to actually have our first opportunity to play against somebody coming up here soon. So we're looking forward to playing somebody else and not having to bang on each other. I think they're getting a little bit tired of that.
Well, last Wednesday we got a chance to see the team for the first time in the green-white scrimmage that was open to the public on Wednesday night, and then you met with some of the fans. The players got to have dinner with some of the fans on Wednesday. You had Madness on Thursday, and I think Jobey came out and was going to shoot three-pointers. I know you play, but I heard you didn't make many, Jobey. What happened?
I embarrassed myself. So
I thought maybe you threw it. You wanted to feel good. You threw it for Ryan.
I'd love to make a lot of excuses, but I'm going to resist temptation and just say congratulations, Ryan Murphy. We'll shoot again.
Well, that must have been a fun night, Coach. What was that like?
It's always fun. Madness is an opportunity for our guys, as in the midst of practicing and really grinding it out, to just have a night to have some fun, do some fun things, get the student body out, get a chance for them to see the team, both the women's team and the men's team. And so it was a fun night. Had three-point shootout, dunk contest, game with the women's and the men's teams kind of intermingled. So it was a fun night, just kind of getting excited about the basketball season coming up.
Also fun for the fans to see Eddie Baston. Eddie back on campus for homecoming, was the Grand Marshal of the parade, and of course one of the great all-time Niners, Conference USA Player of the Year back in 2005, and maybe we might have another one this year in John Davis. We'll talk about that later, but good to see Eddie back here again.
Yeah, it was. I had an opportunity to have dinner with Eddie earlier that night before Madness. It's the first time I really got to spend some time with him, but obviously he has fond memories of his time here at Charlotte. I know he was a great player while he was here, and I know Jobey and he crossed paths for a year there. But it's always good for me to get a chance to meet the former players, former alums, the guys that really set a standard here at Charlotte for basketball, and as we're trying to continue to build our program.
I think Jobey can talk to this. Eddie got here. You look at some of the Niners now, and you get guys that come in, and John Davis has made these strides, and Andrew White, but a guy that came onto campus, not a lot was known about Eddie. Wasn't a great shooter, that's for sure, could play defense, but he made himself the complete player that he now is by just that hard work.
Yeah, Eddie, just had a winning mentality, and that's what you want to see. A coach can speak to that, and even when you're recruiting players, when you're evaluating young talent, certainly they have to be able to put the ball in the basket, defend, have some of those intangibles, but you can't teach that grit and that toughness. And a guy like Eddie, who just improved year after year, and Coach, some of our conversations off the line about this team this season, it seems that you love the attitude as much as anything about some of these newcomers.
Yeah, Jalen Haslam's a guy that jumps to mind right away. Junior college transfer this year. He's not only going to give us some much-needed size inside that we were lacking last year, but just his spirit that he brings every day. He's such a positive, workhorse kind of a guy. He knows who he is. He gets in there. He plays big, but he's talking, and he's already turned himself into one of the leaders on our team.
The X Factor a couple of years ago, your first year was maybe Joseph Ochibo. Not just what he did on the floor, but the energy he brought. He had that winning mentality, and that's something that, as you just said, you kind of feel like this team might have again.
Yeah, I think there's a hunger there. Obviously, we've gone through some ups and downs the first 2 years in trying to build our program with young players, and so they got thrown in the fire early, and so they've had some great moments. We've had some disappointing moments. But I think it's all left a real hunger in their mouth for success, and I think the effort that they're putting forward every day shows that. And I think we're obviously going to have more pieces to the puzzle this year than we had last year as well.
You had a lot of pieces from last year, but where do you think this team has changed the most from the first two teams you've had here?
Well, like I said, I think, we're just a much bigger team than we've been. We've been really small the last couple years, even at our 4 position, playing 6'3" to 6'4" guys at the 4 spot. We won't have anybody smaller than 6'8" playing that position this year. It's allowing for more flexibility. We got bigger wing players as well. So I think just overall depth and overall length of our team is something that we haven't had.
When you look at the schedule, we do get started on the 10th of November with the doubleheader. Methodist coming in. You have a lot of the first handful of games at home, the one time on the road going out to Oklahoma State, which is going to be a challenge on the 13th. Henry Iba Arena, always one of the tougher places to play in college basketball. But where the schedule sets up, at least for the first part of the year, you're going to be home a lot. Yeah,
early on, we're going to be home. Going to be playing some good teams at home, but it's going to be an exciting opportunity for our fans, for our students. Got teams like Charleston, Davidson, Wake Forest coming into our home building. It's a great opportunity to get teams like that in your home arena, and a chance for us to kind of try to hone up our home, win total and try to win some of these tough games on our home court. Hopefully heading to some momentum as we go out on the road later on.
That College of Charleston team's a good team. Had a good season a year ago. Nice to have them at our place. Oklahoma State's a home and home, right? They'll be coming back here next year.
Yeah, that's correct. That was a great get for us, getting a chance to play a team like that in the Big 12 on the road this year, but we'll have them in our building next year. So, the last 3 years now, last year being Oregon State, this year Wake Forest, and next year with Oklahoma State, getting Power 5 schools in our building is not an easy task to accomplish these days. So we're really excited about being able to put those packages together.
One of the changes that we'll see coming into the season, changing your coaching staff. Tell us about that.
Well, we added Ivo Simovic to our coaching staff this year. He's from Serbia. I felt like that, there was a need there to expand our recruiting base, not just here in the States, but there's so many good players overseas that are looking to come over and play college ball now, that I felt like that was an area that we needed to add to our coaching staff, and also Ivo's background, and he's been a head coach over in Spain and at the professional level and over in the European leagues, and just has a great understanding of not only how to play the way we like to play. We like to play a pro style, but also he does a great job with player development as well. So he just brings a lot to the table, and I'm fortunate that we were able to add him to our staff.
And also get a couple of players also from Serbia, some bigger guys, 6'8", 6'9", and Milo Supika and Luka Vasic. Tell us about those two.
Yeah, excited about both of those young guys. Luka's actually, kind of a 3-4 swingman at 6'8". Once again, just gives you a lot of length. A very versatile player. Milos is a He's a really strong kid. He's already about 230 pounds, coming out of high school, but really active feet. Has a chance to be a really good, 4-5 for us. And excited about both of those young guys.
Coach, when I was playing overseas, had an opportunity to play for some Serbian coaches as well as against a lot of Serbian players with some Serbian players as well. And one of the things that always sticks out in my memory is the toughness they bring. And so as we even spoke earlier about the grit and determination of this team, have you seen that from these guys, just a sense of, entitlement at times from, the culture at large here in America with some of the younger high school players coming out, getting early recognition versus over there, those guys take nothing for granted and play extremely hard?
Yeah, you can definitely see when these guys came in. I mean, they're serious. They're good students. They do what they're supposed to do. They're all about the right things. They work extremely hard, and they're competitive. And I love that combination that they bring and the attitude. Like you said, hopefully it'll get changed with all the stuff that's going on with the NCAA now with the shoe companies and the AAU deals. But so many of our kids now, like you said, there is a little bit of an entitlement thing coming in. I expect this, I expect that. I mean, these guys are coming over here knowing that they got to earn everything they get, and so they're out there working hard every day, and that's the right approach that you need to have.
And one of the things, that many people in the U.S., I think, probably don't have an understanding of is just how good Serbian basketball is in the Serbian basketball school. These guys, they work extremely hard, but they're very skilled. And you look at the success the Serbian national teams had and so forth. So it has to be an advantage bringing a guy like Ivo on staff just to help even day to day in some of the player development.
Oh, no question. Like you said, Serbia is probably right now behind the United States in international competition. Is probably one of the stronger programs out there. I know I went to the 18 and under, World Championships in Serbia, won that. They have a lot of talented young players, and for a small country, they put out a lot of really good basketball players.
And they love basketball. And my last story from overseas in Serbia, I tell people the most exciting game I ever played in, it's this college professional, was in Belgrade, Serbia, playing the EuroLeague when I played for Milan against a team, Partizan Belgrade, 20,000 people going absolutely crazy. About 150 riot police in full gear out there, just in case, we're worried about getting out alive, which at times we thought could be a concern. But anyway, exciting to have some international flavor on the Niners this season.
It's going to be really exciting for you too, Coach, in that you get a couple of guys that are all in basketball, but also as students, and you know how hard they work, because Jobey's told me stories about playing over there. It's not like playing in the NBA where you don't practice as hard. These guys practice harder than they actually play at times, and as a coach, to get two young guys like that to come in and kind of bring that attitude to your team's got to be a bonus.
Oh, no question. I mean, a lot of these European players, and Jobey knows, he's been over there, they're used to practicing twice a day and having a third session where they probably just get up shots and things like that. So there's a whole different mindset too. So when you go in one practice for a couple hours and the American kids are like dying out there, these guys are thinking, well, we still got a couple practices to go, and they're like, this is nothing.
Sounds good. We're going to take a break on the show. Again, it's a dual show today. We'll have Coach Cara Consuegra of the women's team coming up in the second half hour. Back with Coach Price in a moment. This is Goldmine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Okay, it's time to belly up to the bar, because it's the last call to save big on 2017 Ford F-Series. Cash in on the truck that hauls the most and has more efficiency at the pump with an EcoBoost engine and a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body. Time to get in on America's best-selling trucks 40 years running, because you snooze, you lose, pal.
Now get $10,800 in total savings on a 2017 F-150, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today? Surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel! Guitar? Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party? Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live, everybody, here at the Student Union today, getting ready for basketball season with head coach Mark Price now in his third year with the Charlotte 49ers. And, Coach, as we go into year 3 for you, I know it's gone by fast, and here you're sitting for your third season, getting ready for not just this season, but your third year in Conference USA. What are some of the things you've noticed the first couple of years in the league, as we're, not just the Niners trying to improve, but also the league, to get multiple teams in the NCAA tournament? You've had some conversations, I'm sure, with some other schools. What are you seeing as we progress moving forward?
Well, I think one of the big topics of conversation when we go to the conference meetings every year is, how can we raise our RPI as a conference? It can't just be one team at the top and pulling everybody. It's, a lot of times, how good's the bottom of your league? Can they raise their level? The thing that makes it real challenging, unfortunately, is not everybody's, you're not talking apples to apples. The budgets of some schools versus others. Some schools actually have to play teams to raise money for their budgets, and so they end up hurting RPIs and things like that because of those things. So it's a challenge. I mean, ultimately, we brought guys in to talk to us about strategies and things of that nature. But, overall, it comes down to your conference has to, when they do play non-conference games, you got to try to win some of those games. And, particularly if you can get some road wins. But more importantly than that is really winning home games and trying to get as many home games as you can. And we'll see. But I do think our conference from overall top to bottom has gotten stronger this year, at least on paper, just from things that you've seen. Additions, some schools have made some coaching changes, some things like that. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think overall the conference is probably, since I've been here, probably tougher top to bottom than it has been since I got here.
Middle Tennessee's lost a couple of studs, but they're going to be good. Giddy Potts is back. I know you really like UTEP and what they're doing down there in El Paso. Yeah,
I think UTEP is a team that nobody's talking a lot nationally in our league, but they really finished strong last season. They got probably more size than anybody in our league, and they've used it really well with those big kids inside. They got a really good guard coming back this year as well, and so I know some pieces that they've added. So Tim Floyd's quietly kind of put a really good team together down there at UTEP.
Conference tournament moving to Frisco, Texas. It's no longer on the home court of one of the conference schools. Now it's close to a couple of schools in the Dallas area, but they seem like they've really bought into hosting this conference tournament, and hopefully it's going to energize the tournament.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's a unique format. I know when it first got presented, everybody kind of looked at each other. They're actually going to be 2 courts in there side by side with women's games and men's games going on simultaneously, and ultimately get to 1 court. But I don't know, the logistics of it. I mean, they kind of showed us what it's going to look like. Each court's supposed to be identical, they say, and so we'll see. I think the logistics of maybe a band from one school playing over here and a band over here and a whistle blowing here. I don't know, acoustically. Kind of feel like an AAU tournament maybe a little bit when you're there, hearing whistles blowing all over the place. But they say, they got it figured out. So we'll, at least at this point, I'm going to trust them, give them the benefit of the doubt, and see if it works. I know it's a nice facility they're doing it in there, and Dallas Cowboys facility, and, hope it'll generate some enthusiasm for our league. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're stepping out of the box here a little bit, so you got to give them credit for that. And see if they can't do something that'll generate some excitement for our conference.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be interesting. I think, way back in the days when we were in the Sun Belt Conference, that league was in the forefront of some rule changes that are now still in play in college basketball. So maybe this will be something that can get some excitement going and again, try to get back to the NCAA tournament. As you look at this team for the Niners in 2017-2018, it's nice to have some pieces back. Of course, we talked about John Davis and Andrew White, but Austin Ajuka played a big part of the second half. The transfer from Clemson, wasn't eligible till really after the first semester last year, but he's been with the team now for that part of last season, all off season, going into this year, and nice to have his athletic ability, not just able to bang inside, but he showed us he can step outside last year too and extend his game.
Yeah, I look for Austin to have a really good year for us this year. It's always difficult and a challenge when you have to join a team mid-season like Austin did last year, and it's kind of hard finding your place once guys have already got 10 games into the season. But I'm looking for him to really have a good year this year. I think Hudson Price, another guy who played, he had been out for a couple years. Look for him to have a good year this year to go along with John and Andrea and with that veteran leadership. And then Najee Garvin, obviously, is another key piece coming back. He played a lot of minutes as a freshman last year, a lot of them out of position. He'll get to play more of his natural position this year with some of the size that we've added. So, I think all of those guys have improved and gotten better, and that bodes well for having a good year this year.
Coach, we talked about John Davis, had a big summer, great opportunity for him to play in some big camps against some of the best competition in the country, and by all accounts, it sounds like he more than held his own. In your conversations with John, what's his motivation and his mindset like coming into his junior season?
Yeah, I think John's been good. I think, John always kind of has the same personality. He kind of just goes about business. He doesn't seem to get too high or too low on things. I've talked to him. The biggest challenge, and I've been in his shoes in fact that, when he plays a game this year, he's going to be the game plan for the other team. It's going to be about stopping John Davis first and then the other guys second. And so it'll be another level that he needs to step up to and meet that challenge. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to score as much as he did last year or score more. It's how can he play well, how can he help our team play well and get his other teammates involved possibly earlier in the game, and then get a chance to do his thing, once things open up a little bit.
And one of the challenges for John has been just playing so many minutes. You want him on the floor, you need him on the floor, but defensively it causes him to struggle at times because he's got the ball in his hands 35, 38 minutes a game. Jalen McGill come in and is actually practicing really well for you guys. How does having a guy like him coming off the bench maybe help relieve some of that pressure off of John?
Yeah, that was a question obviously coming in, who's going to be our backup point guard this year. Jalen McGill, has been a really nice surprise early on. More of a combo guy in high school. Didn't really know how he could handle the point guard position. You never know till they get into the fire of things, but he's done a really good job for us in practice, and he's a guy that's definitely capable of coming in and doing that.
Well, Coach, also we saw last season Najee Garvin, and you talked about him playing out of position a lot because of our lack of size, had to play 4 and 5 a lot. How is his role, if everyone stays healthy this year, with the added post players that you've put on this team, change Garvin's role?
Well, like I said, he'll get to play more of his natural position, which is the 4 spot this year. Obviously, which will be to his advantage. He won't have to be banging against 6'11", 250 guys, and he can let Big Jalen do that for him this year. But Najee's also really improved. I told him last year our goal was to really improve his 15 to 18-foot jump shot. He's really spent a lot of time on that. He's been pretty consistent with that shot during practice so far, and added that to his game. So we're excited about his progress and look for Najee to have a really good year for us.
Mentioned Ryan Murphy at the start of the show. He was a guy that came here as a walk-on last year, sat out, worked on his game, and now will be part of this team this season. What do you see his role being to start the year?
Well, to start the year, Ryan's, he's probably, just our best shooter, just open, knockdown shooter from the outside. Ryan's got to progress, defensively at this level, be able to guard some people, but there'll be some times where we feel like he could help us in certain situations, a team that maybe plays a lot of zone or situations like that we could put a guy in there that could maybe bust that up for us. And he's also a very smart player, so learning our system and all that stuff and finding where he fits in that is kind of a process for him right now. But there's one thing he can do that you always like, and that's he can shoot the ball. So there'll be times we'll try to find opportunities for him to get out there on the court and do that.
Let's take a timeout, back with one more segment with Coach Price, then Coach Consuegra. In the second half hour, we'll talk about the upcoming season for the Niners women's team as well. And the season starts for both teams, a doubleheader on the 10th of November at Halton Arena. Get your tickets by going to charlotte49ers.com or call 704-687-4949. More Gold Mine Live coming up in a moment on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Okay, it's time to belly up to the bar because it's the last call to save big on 2017 Ford F-Series. Cash in on the truck that hauls the most and has more efficiency at the pump with an EcoBoost engine and a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body. Time to get in on America's best-selling trucks 40 years running because you snooze, you lose, pal.
Now get $10,800 in total savings on a 2017 F-150 only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel!
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
The Student Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers. This week's Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week is Amelia Clower. Clower is a junior defender on the women's soccer team from Summerville, South Carolina. She recorded 2 assists in a 3-0 win over FIU this season, which earned her a spot on the TopDrawerSoccer.com National Team of the Week, and was an important contributor on defense for the 49ers' 2016 Conference USA Championship team last season. Away from the field, Clower is a communication studies major and a member of the CUSA Honor Roll and the Dean's List here at Charlotte. Amelia Clower, the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week. This has been the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers.
Well, welcome back to Gold Mine Live. We're here with Coach Mark Price. A couple of more minutes before we wrap up this first section of our show. We'll have the women's program. We'll talk about that next with Coach Cara Consuegra. But, Coach, as we kind of wrap up our segment here, we've talked a little bit about John Davis, but preseason first team All-Conference USA, was second team last year, wrapping up the year. We certainly knew he played well enough to make the first team. And here's a guy that has that type of season, hopefully makes that next step here in his junior year to improve a little bit more. Could very well be, maybe the player of the year in this league. Well,
I think, individual accomplishments are going to come about by team success. I'm just a big believer that, obviously, if we finished better in the conference last year, John probably is first team. So he understands that. It's ultimately, it's a team award. And, I think it's, something that, obviously I believe John's best player in the league. He's my player. I'm biased toward him. He's got some things he's got to continue to improve if he wants to cement and make that statement. So, my advice to John every day is just stay hungry. Remember you got picked second team last year. Don't let what everybody's saying around you, make you think you're better than you are. I feel like one of the reasons I was able to be successful my whole career was that I was able to keep that chip on my shoulder. It didn't matter what I was accomplishing. There was always somebody that I was having to be challenged with or challenged to and meet that challenge on a daily basis. Like I said, he's going to have to raise his level because everybody's going to be coming after him now. He's going to have the bullseye on his chest this year because of all the accolades that he's gotten over the off season. So he's got to understand that, and he's going to have to raise his game to another level.
I wanted to ask you, too, you talked about last season maybe Andrew White's injury that he suffered in the summer in the Canadian tour, maybe affecting him throughout the season. Finally got healthy, really healthy towards the end of the year. I want to ask you, too, about Hudson, because Hudson had those both knees scoped during his time he was off, but wasn't, a full year back. Now he is. You feel like both those guys are 100% going forward? I do. Both those guys. Adrian's totally back. He's in great shape. Hudson's also probably in the best shape of his life. He's lost some weight, trimmed down, gotten himself in great condition. So I'm excited about both of those guys this year. I think they're both going to have a good season. Finally, I wanted to ask you, too, we have a little stretch when we start the season after the opener. You'll have your second game coming up. That'll be at Oklahoma State. You have a span of 4 games in 10 days, just like we had last year, kind of like that NBA schedule. Then you have a bit of a downtime. You have that one game with Wake Forest in between a couple of stretches of not playing a lot. So it's an interesting start to the schedule. Yeah, a lot of home games early, and then we go on the road for a stretch. So like I said, we hope we can get off to a good start, play well at home, get some W's there, get some momentum as we head out on the road,
And then, next step this year, I feel like is becoming a better road team, consistently playing better on the road. That's a challenge we have as a team and what we have to do if we want to achieve the kind of goals that we have set for ourselves.
Coach, thanks so much. Now you got to get over to practice, so good luck in practice this week, and we'll see you again really soon. The opener coming up on November the 10th.
All right, Matt, look forward to it.
Coach
Thanks.
Mark Bryce joining us. Gold Mine Live, first half hour in the books, second half hour coming up. We'll turn our attention over to Coach Cara Consuegra in the women's program. That's coming up next after this timeout on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Okay, it's time to belly up to the bar because it's the last call to save big on 2017 Ford F-Series. Cash in on the truck that hauls the most and has more efficiency at the pump with an EcoBoost engine and a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body. Time to get in on America's best-selling trucks 40 years running. Because you snooze, you lose, pal.
Now get $10,800 in total savings on a 2017 F-150, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel, hotel.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live, everybody, as we are here at the Student Union today and turn our attention now to the Niners women's basketball program. Head coach Cara Consuegra now in her 7th season on the Niners sidelines. Good to see you again. It's that time of year.
I know. I can't believe we're back here already, but it's good to be here.
As we start talking basketball, practice has been going. Of course, the last few years you can start earlier than old October the 16th when it was that one big day for everybody across the country. How's practice been for you so far?
Well, I have to say that I'm happy that we could start early. I wish we could have started in August. We have probably the youngest team that I've ever had in my tenure here, both based on age and experience. So we have a lot of work to do, as you can tell from my voice already. We talked about this before the show started. There's already been a lot of coaching going on, but we have a great group of kids. I mean, they're working really hard. They want to be good. They're hungry to be good. They just don't know how to be good yet. And so it's a lot of work to do, a lot of teaching. We've been going slow, just trying to reteach everything. When you don't have a lot of kids with experience, I mean, there's just a lot of little things that you have to break down and show them. And so we're getting better. I mean, we're definitely getting better week by week, but still have a little ways to go. 2
returning starters, and I guess when you're starting, not from scratch, but so many new players, if you're going to return a couple, either you want a great point guard or some size in the middle. We got size in the middle. Nyla Jamison-Myers, preseason All-Conference USA, the transfer from Clemson. And I'm guessing right now it's harder to get that type of player than maybe a young point guard.
Yeah, I mean, we're thrilled to have Nye back in the middle for us, and I think that she is really ready to go out with a bang. I mean, last year, just coming off transferring and sitting out and different injuries that she had at Clemson, she was just really up and down, and you could see flashes of it. We were like, wow, this kid is really unbelievable. And then she'd have other games where she just kind of struggled with her consistency among the games. So I think coming into this season, she's really prepared. I think she realizes the impact that she can have on our team and in this conference. I think she is by far one of the best post players in this league, and like I've said about her, one of the best players. It's just a matter of her keeping her healthy, keeping her on the court, and keeping her playing consistently.
Outside of the consistency factor, what's some of the things that she brings to this team in the middle that really you can't replace?
Well, she's a significant shot blocker. I mean, for us, that's going to be huge because we are young, and we have a long ways to go defensively, and our kids learning to be out on the perimeter and defending the ball, containing the ball, and everything that goes into your defensive schemes. It's always great to have somebody who can just be back there and take care of all the mistakes that were made, either alter the shots or block the shot. I mean, she's definitely the best shot blocker in this league. And then I think Nye also brings just some great leadership, which we really need. I mean, this is her 6th year playing college basketball, and she's been in our program long enough now that she knows what we need. She knows how to get there, and she's not afraid to voice it either. And so she's really stepped up for us in terms of being a leader, and we need to have that from her.
You've had so many upperclassmen in the last few years that were leaders on and off the floor. Is it hard now as a coach when you see what you want to do, but to have the patience early in the season right now?
It's very hard because you can see the potential in this team, and we are very talented. Some of our young players have come in and are really making an impact right away, but it's just a matter of understanding, and so you have to have that patience as a coach. Like, you know, you think about all these things that we need to have ready by November 10th when we play Duquesne, but, you know, if we can't just close out and know how to play the gap or play one ball screen defense well, like what's the point of having several ball screen defenses? So, yes, it's been a big challenge for me to stay patient. My coaching staff has been really great, just helping me to focus in on, okay, one or two things that we can get better at per day, and then hopefully, you know, at the end of the week we can look back and say, okay, we're a better team than we were the week before, but, you know, without as many things we would normally have in this time of year.
Coach, with a young team and inexperienced team, often, you know, you have to pick one thing, and you mentioned ball screen defense, and it seems to be defense, which, you know, as the old adage goes, wins championships. Offense seems to come a little more natural, and players want to play offense a lot more than they naturally want to play defense. Has the defensive side of the ball been, you know, the bulk of the focus early on as you work with an inexperienced team?
Well, it really has, and some of that's just the way that we kind of worked on building this team early. From the summer through all of our fall workouts, we focused on our offense because we wanted them to learn just the basics of our offense so that we could, you know, obviously get out and be able to run that. And then once practice started, we said, okay, we have to do a lot of skill work. We have to help them understand why we're doing certain things offensively. We already showed it to them, but now let's teach them why. And then we got to learn how to play defense. So our practices are certainly heavy on the defensive side. And, you know, it's got to be that way because, you know, even though we've been a great scoring team in the last 2 years in Conference USA, we're different. We lost 61% of our scoring from last year. 61%. I mean, it's a significant loss for us. So if we can't score, we have to be able to get stops. And so that's been a big focus for us in practice.
The other returning player is a point guard, Leah Raventos. Tell us about her.
Lia's had a fantastic offseason. I think it's been really well promoted that she went back to Spain. She played on her Spanish national team. They won the 20 and under European Championship, and she was a major contributing factor on that team. And she's just come back with a different, you know, just kind of a different swag about her, which has been really cool to see. I think some of that's because she's a junior in our program, but her confidence is at a different level than I've seen as I've coached her. And we've been challenging her to become more of a leader because she needs to be, one, being a point guard, but two, being one of our only returning players with some experience. And I think she's really stepped up, you know, one as a leader in terms of giving reminders and trying to show kids what to do, but also as a leader in terms of demanding the standard, you know, which is equally important and hard for young kids because they don't understand the standard. You know, freshmen, and they don't understand how to work hard. It's completely different from high school to college, and I think that was something that we really needed, somebody with experience to be able to say, look, this is the way we do this. This is how hard we go. This is the expectation. And being able to verbalize that from players is so much more impactful than hearing it from me over and over and over. And I think that's something that she's done really well early for us.
We'll take a timeout. We got a lot more to talk about as we get ready for the basketball season. Doubleheader for both the men and the women on November the 10th. Duquesne's going to be the opener for the women. We'll talk about that coming up because that's a tough challenge on opening night for the Niner women coming up against Duquesne. We'll take a timeout. This is Goldmine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Okay, it's time to belly up to the bar because it's the last call to save big on 2017 Ford F-Series. Cash in on the truck that hauls the most and has more efficiency at the pump with an EcoBoost engine and a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body. Time to get in on America's best-selling trucks 40 years running because you snooze, you lose, pal.
Now get $10,800 in total savings on a 2017 F-150 only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel, hotel.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party? Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back here, Goldmine Live, as we put our attention this week towards the basketball season with Coach Cara Consuegra, the head coach, now in her 7th year for the Niner women. And a young team coming back, 2 returning starters, a challenging schedule, Coach. The first game we talked about before break was Duquesne, a team out of the A-10 you know well from our time in the Atlantic 10 Conference, but a really good basketball program.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tough one right off the bat for us. And we went up to their place last year, and we beat them pretty well at home, so I know that they're going to be very much looking forward to the opportunity for the payback here. And we're a really very different team from we were a year ago, and I think they return a lot of experience, and they ended up playing in the WNIT last year. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one right off the bat, and we're just trying to do everything we can to be the best prepared we can.
Got Rutgers in the schedule, too. You put together a really a good schedule here in 2017-18. Tell us about what you like about it right now.
Well, I always like playing a tough schedule. I think it's important regardless of your age, because the best way to learn and figure out what you have to get better at is to play somebody that's good. I mean, I think it's really easy to go and play easy teams and have a great record, but not get exposed in any ways. And then you head into conference season and you have a false sense of what you're good at. And I don't want to have that false sense. I want to know. So, you know, we have to be patient early. We need to understand that we're going to be in some really tough contests from the beginning. And, you know, most important thing is just focus on our process. We have to just get better every week and get these young players up to speed. I mean, you're going to see a lot of young players on our roster playing early. I mean, we got some freshmen competing for starting spots right now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one of them in that lineup. I don't know yet, but you know, and when you have that, you just, like I said, you have to stay patient. We have to stay focused on the process. We just have to try to keep getting better.
I don't think I've ever met a coach that doesn't like competition, so it's great that you've got this opportunity for players to try to play to get more playing time. Absolutely.
I mean, we announce every day going into practice who our best competitors were from practice the day before. Whoever were our best competitors, they start in the scrimmage that day. And so it just helps our players stay focused on, you know, you can do so many things in practice, but if you don't compete, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to compete, and we have to be ready to play. And so teaching young kids how to compete, how to be ready, how to, no matter what has happened, next play mentality of, okay, I got to compete on the next play. So we try to create that in our practices as much as possible. We did a lot of competition-based workouts, lifts in the off season to enhance that competition level. And like I said, we straight up announce it in practice. These were our best competitors from the day. If you want to play, you got to be more competitive today. And it seems to work real well with our team.
Now, you were going to go down to Puerto Rico to play in the Puerto Rican Tip-Off Classic. Of course, all the devastation down there with the hurricane. They're going to be rebuilding for a while. You can't play that tournament. They've moved it to Fort Lauderdale. I know you wanted to play that tournament someplace because the team's going to be playing. You play Iowa, your alma mater, for the first time in your coaching career. So that's going to be a lot of fun for you. But talk about that tournament, and you wanted to keep it on your schedule.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest. Well, first of all, the number one concern is for the people of Puerto Rico. You know, a lot of people said to me, "Oh, aren't you disappointed that you're not playing in Puerto Rico?" And I said, "No. Like, the focus. I mean, the tournament doesn't matter." In the scheme of things, like, the most important thing is just, you know, feeling for the people that live in Puerto Rico and what they're going through. Secondly, our concern was losing the tournament altogether, so we were really thankful that they were able to move the tournament just so we wouldn't lose those games. You know, you can't replace those games in September, which is when they were trying to reschedule at the end of September or October. So really thankful they found a place for us to go. Fort Lauderdale be fine. 2 great matchups for us down there, obviously playing, as you said, my alma mater, University of Iowa, who's taught me a ton about, you know, those coaches have taught me a ton that I use. Even our offense I learned it from them. So it'll be a really interesting matchup, I think. And then we also play South Dakota State, who is traditionally very, very good in the Summit League. So 2 amazing games.
Coach, as you look at the preseason as well as, you know, a tournament like the one in Fort Lauderdale, all your non-conference games are to prepare you for a conference season. And this year they've revamped the conference schedule somewhat, the way games have been formatted. Talk about that a little bit and the importance of playing those games as you head into this conference season.
Right. I mean, we're trying to work as a league, as coaches in Conference USA, to enhance our ability to play in postseason. And we feel like as a league we have some really great teams, but we have to do a better job scheduling. So part of the thought was to take away 2 league games and give us 2 more non-conference games to improve our scheduling, improve our RPI. And so, we do that every year anyway, certainly, but hopefully some of our counterparts in Conference USA have taken that opportunity to schedule 2 more games that are a little bit tougher. And, just as we said, I mean, the tougher the games are early, the more we know about ourselves. Hopefully the more prepared we are in Conference USA. The other thing that they did in Conference USA for us this year is they tried to group our teams based on RPI, right? So the top of the league isn't going to play the bottom of the league twice, because that doesn't help improve your RPI to be able to get into the NCAA tournament, right? So we are in the top 4 of the RPI of Conference USA right now. So we are going to be playing more teams in that top tier, which is better for us in preparation for postseason. So I was really happy with the way that they changed conference format as well.
It should be interesting. How about the conference tournament? It's going to be in Frisco, Texas. Ask Coach Price about this. And it's an interesting format. It's something that it's very unique, playing at the Cowboys facility, 2 courts simultaneously, a women's game and a men's game going on. Ultimately, to get to that round where it's just 1 court and 1 game, but definitely a different concept.
Yeah, from our perspective, we're pretty excited about it. I think it'll be really great for our women to be in such an amazing facility, to have games going on at the same time, the opportunity for fans from men's basketball to watch women's basketball certainly is great for us. And, I think the only anxiety kind of that everybody has is, what is it going to sound like? What is it going to feel like? They say they have these curtains that they drop that, have a sound barrier, but yeah, they're the professionals, so we have to say, but we'll be out there. We're going out to Media Day next week, and I think as part of that, we get an opportunity to kind of tour the facility and get a better feel. But I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not sure that we could have a better setup for women's basketball.
Well, bringing it out there the way they have, they're going to be behind promoting it, and the Cowboys, they want to have everything big, and the state of Texas. I hope it's going to be a great atmosphere for both sides of that tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we certainly, even though I'm a Redskins fan, we certainly have to thank the Dallas Cowboys for getting behind us. So I'll have to be a Cowboys fan for like a day or 2. But, the cool thing about it, I mean, they have invested financially. They have invested in just like you said, like they want to do things well. So I think you feel pretty confident when you have, the Cowboy organization backing your conference tournament, that things are going to be done in a first-class way.
Take our last break on the show. Come back, one more segment as we get ready for basketball season just around the corner. Doubleheader on the 10th of November at Halton Arena. And that's just a few weeks away. So get your tickets by going to charlotte49ers.com. We're back in a moment. This is the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Okay, it's time to belly up to the bar, because it's the last call to save big on 2017 Ford F-Series. Cash in on the truck that hauls the most and has more efficiency at the pump with an EcoBoost engine and a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body. Time to get in on America's best-selling trucks 40 years running. Because you snooze, you lose, pal.
Now get $10,800 in total savings on a 2017 F-150, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel, hotel.
Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party? Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back. Just a few minutes left to show this week as we have our first basketball show of the season. Once we wrap up the football season, we'll turn our attention every Monday to the basketball programs. But we start the season on the 10th of November, the doubleheader. The men take on Methodist and the women take on Duquesne. We're talking with women's head coach Cara Consuegra going into her 7th season now. And Coach, I wanted to ask you, as we wrapped up last year, we saw a little change in the guard, maybe atop women's college basketball with a national champion that wasn't named Notre Dame, well, they haven't won one, but wasn't named UConn or Stanford or something like Baylor, with Mississippi State and South Carolina, winning the title.
Yeah, it was great for women's basketball. I mean, obviously UConn has a tremendous program that everybody is chasing them, and well deserved. But I think to see, teams go in and be able to compete against them, not back down, and for a new champion to be crowned, I think was great for our game, and I think it keeps everybody hungry. We had great great attendance, great TV ratings for our Final Four, and we have to continue to maintain that momentum.
Seeing the growth too, just across the country with the WNBA, and players could always go overseas, but now they can come and stay in the States and make a living doing it that way as well.
Yeah, the WNBA had a fantastic summer in terms of their ratings and popularity, and which was accumulated in their finals, which was fantastic 5-game series between Minnesota and the Sparks. So I think it just says a lot about the young players coming up. Basketball is getting better at the grassroots level, and it keeps improving. And so high school's better, college is better. The WNBA now is so competitive. I mean, you can be a fantastic player and not even get a shot on a roster because it's just so good, and it's neat to be able to see fans really recognizing that and giving women the opportunity to shine.
Got about 30 seconds left of the show. Tell us about, as we get ready for the openers a few weeks away, where do you want to see this team that's so young improve the next couple of weeks?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I think for us, we just need to continue to focus on what we're doing, and defensively, we have to be able to move a little bit faster in terms of being able to get some things in. We have to start working on situational type things, with a young team who's never been. I mean, many of our team have not played a game where you can take a timeout and advance the ball, which we can do now in women's basketball. So just teaching them those types of situations, and just continuing to compete. We're not going to have everything we need in when we play Duquesne. We're just not, and so we have to do everything we can to compete at the highest level and make up for maybe some things that we don't have in scheme-wise. So that's our commitment to these young ladies.
Coach, thanks so much. Really appreciate the time today. Good luck this season. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. You also catch the women on the 4th of November. They take on Coker in an exhibition game at Halton Arena. Again, the first game is the 10th against Duquesne. I want to thank Coach Price, Coach Consuegra, Jobey Thomas. I'm Matt Sparrett. We'll see you again soon. Football coming up in a week from Saturday. Don't forget the Coaches Show next Monday right back here with Coach Brad Lambert. So long, everybody.